Here in America, we have the freedom to follow any religion we please, and more people are beginning to find their own set of beliefs which they hold to be true, even if sometimes it can get a little bit strange. From cults predicting the apocalypse in the near future, to people who believe that your feet hold answers to the unknown.
Here are the strangest cults.
Number 10. The Prince Philip Movement. It might sound like a group of British political enthusiasts, but the Prince Philip Movement is actually a legit religious cult of the Costum people who live on the island of Tanna and Vanuatu in the South Pacific. It's not clear exactly when it sprouted into existence, but it was probably sometime in the 1950s or 60s. There is a local legend that the son of a mountain spirit they worshipped had gone on a great journey overseas to find a mate, and it just so happens that they imagine his son of the mountain spirit to be a tall figure with white skin. He married a very powerful woman and stayed with her in her distant land, but promised to one day come back to them. When they saw how much respect the colonial officials paid Queen Elizabeth II, they figured that her husband, Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, was a man/divine. The prince knows that the cult exists, and they visit each other and exchange gifts several times. Number 9. The Universe People Cult. The cult of the Universe People is a Czech-based movement, and their whole philosophy is centered around aliens. It started in 1997 with a man called Ivo Benda and his supposed telepathic communication with these extraterrestrials. There are several other people besides him who had telepathic conversations with the aliens, whom these people called the Contactors. There were also reports of direct personal contact, but no one ever verified them. Supposedly, these contactor aliens circle the Earth in their spaceships in order to monitor all of everyone's daily activities.
The Universe People claim that aliens wait around for people to die so that they can take them into some other dimension. Meanwhile, to pass time, they help the good people and punish the bad people, although they don't publish any criteria for doing that. This unique cult is also occasionally referred to by another, fancier name, the Cosmic People of Light Powers.
Number 8. The House of Yahweh. One of the surefire ways to recognize a wacky cult is when its founder or leader, though it tends to be one and the same person, changes their ordinary or silly name to something pompous and too tricky to pronounce. This is exactly the case of the House of Yahweh, which was founded by a man called Bill Hawkins. He used to be known as Buffalo Bill, but then he founded his cult and changed his name to Yisrael. He was inspired by his brother's 7-year-long pilgrimage to Israel, after which he came back to the US and started his church in rural Texas. It takes some hand-picked elements of Christianity, no Holy Cross and no Trinity, but yes to the keeping kosher and yes to the resurrection. And then he mixes them up with Hebrew mysticism and the typical end-of-the-world theology. In fact, Bill made several doomsday prophecies relating to the year 2000. He expected Armageddon, a nuclear war, and a drought of 1,000 days. Now he's running a YouTube channel and selling books like Birth of the Nuclear Baby. Number 7. The Aetherius Society. The Aetherius Society are a collection of New Age eccentrics gathered around the teachings of King George, a former taxi driver in North London. Sometime in the mid-1950s, he declared himself an ascended yoga master and claimed to be in direct contact with the voice of an extraterrestrial called, predictably, Aetherius. Apparently, he was also in contact with Shakespeare, Sir Oliver Lodge, Sir Thomas Lipton, and one day while he was doing the dishes, Aetherius chose him as a messenger to the world. The society believes that cosmic masters from Venus and Saturn control the destiny of all humanity. They also spiritually charge the earth, leaving magical batteries full of positive energy around and blessing various landmarks. They do all this to make way for a figure they describe as the next master, a messiah-like character who will come down to earth in a flying saucer, armed with magic more powerful than the combined materialistic might of all the armies. Number 6. The Foot Reading Cult. Well, it's properly called the Hono Hana Sanpang Yo, but who could pronounce that outside of Japan, besides me? This peculiar group was established in 1987 by a man called Hogen Fukunaga. He claimed to have some kind of spiritual epiphany in which he realized that he is the reincarnation of Jesus Christ as well as the reincarnation of the Buddha. Talk about mixed lineage. He claimed that he was able to diagnose people's illnesses and all sorts of quirks and characteristics by examining their feet.
For example, short toes meant a short temper. Fat or chubby toes meant you'd have a life filled with good luck and abundance. He also claimed that if people weren't properly examined, they might die.
These two people made the cult's membership skyrocket up to 30,000 members and earned its nickname of the Foot Reading Cult. However, Hogan charged a steep fee of $900 for each examination, which of course caused an angry uproar. He was accused of swindling money from housewives and had to pay more than $1 million in damages. Number 5. The John Frum Cult. This strange religion originated in the 1940s in the Tanna Island in the South Pacific. You may remember that's also the home of the Prince Philip movement. In fact, both cults are dedicated to real people, and their living gods are occasionally portrayed as brothers by the believers, although they had no relation at all. John Frum was an American serviceman in World War II. In the 1940s, 300,000 American troops settled in this area. They brought along tons of supplies for their missions as well. So it's not too surprising that the natives got the idea from these strange foreign people who bring their isolated island wealth and prosperity that they could be gods. They have a John Frum Day when they build symbolic landing strips, hoping to invite more planes to come by with more cargo. Number 4. The Raelism Cult. This is a brainchild of a French racecar driver called Claude Vorilhon. When he had his epiphany, he changed his last name to Elohim. Since he established his cult in 1947, he's been going by just Rael. With 90,000 members around the globe, it's one of the biggest cults out there, and their gods are very predictably aliens. Rael claims that he was contacted by a green-skinned extraterrestrial called Yaweh. This alien supposedly told him that humanity was artificially created by an alien species called, can you guess it? The Elohim. The cult believes that prophets of other religions, Jesus, Moses, Buddha, etc., were all in fact messengers of the Elohim race who all spoke to Yahweh in their own time. They made all the headlines back in 2000 when they claimed to have successfully cloned a human being, although of course they never provided any shred of evidence. Number 3. The Church of Scientology. The Church of Scientology is best known for having some really high-end followers, several of whom are Hollywood celebrities. But then again, you really need a lot of money to advance in this faith, which is all about aliens again. It was founded by L. Ron Hubbard in 1952, and in order to study it, you have to follow a strict system of ranks and levels, which takes several years and lots of patience. Namely, levels are hidden from members until it's decided that they're ready to handle the advancement. The story of Xenu features prominently in the teachings of Scientology. To keep it brief, Xenu is an alien, the dictator of the Galactic Confederacy, who brought billions of people to his Earth, dumped them around volcanoes, then detonated a whole lot of hydrogen bombs. This then released Thetans, the immortal souls of Xenu people, which supposedly stick to humans and cause us spiritual harm. And yes, they really do believe this. Number 2. The Builders of Tetum. The Builders of Tetum, also known as BOTA for short, might be the least strange on our list. Sure, they have their own ideas, but at least there are no aliens or people's feet involved. It was founded by Paul Foster Case in 1922 after he broke off from the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Tetum is a Latin word that can be roughly translated as inner shrine. So the idea is sort of to be your own living temple and not depend on the actual church building. The BOTA accepts members of any faith as long as they are inclined towards mysticism. They believe in an ageless wisdom which has its roots in Kabbalah. They hold ritual services and study groups, some of which are open to the public. They also sell books and also offer teaching by correspondence. These courses cover topics like the Kabbalah, esoteric psychology, astrology, meditation, and tarot. Number 1. The Church of Satan. Now keep your wigs on, folks. These guys actually have nothing to do with the devil, which makes them all the more strange. See, this church is actually categorically atheist. They don't believe in any kind of god, nor devil, nor angels, demons, nor anything of that kind. They do believe in the social contract, however, meaning they insist in being a law-abiding citizen and following the unwritten rules of social interaction. Their leader, Peter Gilmore, is known to report maniacs who tell them they're going to commit crimes because they admire the Christian idea of the evil devil. They do, however, consider stupidity to be a sin. Their interpretation of the word Satan is adversary or challenger, which is the idea behind their name and illustrates their opposition to any spiritual doctrine. Their core belief is relying on general logic in life, which basically means they insist on reason and critical thinking. They say that each individual must take personal responsibility for their own life instead of relying on any deity.
Or at least, that's what they want us to believe.
Now, as strange as these cults and their leaders might be, much stranger things have happened. Like, for example, real-life reincarnation. We go over some of these eerie tales in our video on kids who remembered their past lives. See you all there.